Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to talk about a roadmap. A roadmap designed to do one really critical thing: get you out of your head and into the mind of your customer. This is a framework that can literally be the difference between a product that just launches and one that actually lands. All right, so picture this. You poured your heart and soul into creating something you totally believe in. It's innovative, it's slick, it works perfectly. At least, it works perfectly for you. But here's the million-dollar question every founder has to ask. What happens when that product leaves the building and steps into the real world? How does a customer really interact with it? I'm talking from the very first spark of an idea they have all the way to a final recommendation. Well, that gap, the one between your understanding and their reality, that's a huge and honestly a really dangerous blind spot. It's this fuzzy area where all our assumptions live, and unfortunately, it's where so many brilliant new ideas just stumble and fail. And let's be super clear here. Most of the time, the problem isn't the idea itself. It's not the code. It's about connection. It's all about whether your product can just seamlessly fit into the customer's world. Their daily routines, the challenges they're facing, their whole value chain. Okay, so how do you fix this? How do you bridge that gap and shine a light on that blind spot? Well, the solution is to stop guessing and start mapping. You really need a strategic map that lays out the entire, sometimes winding, path your customer takes with your product. And this map has a name. It's called the full lifecycle use case. Now, this isn't just about that one moment of purchase or the first time somebody opens your app. No, think of it more like a panoramic view of the entire experience, from the very beginning to the very end. And this all leads to a really fundamental shift in how you think. The entire point of this framework is to force you, the creator, to see your product exactly as your customer does, with all their questions, their hesitations, and even their potential frustrations. Now, this map, it's not some fuzzy, abstract idea. It's actually a super concrete 10-step journey that, whether you've thought about it or not, every single one of your customers is already going on. So let's break this journey down into two parts. First, let's dive into the 5 steps that cover everything leading up to the moment a customer even uses the product. Okay, so here's the pre-experience, and this is where so many of our assumptions live. It all starts with a need, right? But then it spirals into these critical questions. How do they even find out about you? How are they weighing you against the competition? And what is that first experience of getting and installing your product really like? You have to remember, every single one of these steps is a potential exit ramp for your customer. All right, so once the product is actually in their hands, the in-experience begins, and this is where the relationship is really built. They use it, sure, but the crucial part is, when do they determine its value? That's that magic aha moment we're all looking for. From there, the journey moves through payment, the chance to buy more, and then the ultimate goal, turning a happy customer into your best and cheapest marketing channel. Now, thinking through these 10 steps, this isn't just some nice little academic exercise. It has massive, tangible, strategic payoffs for your whole business. This is really where the theory turns into a serious competitive advantage. And here's where the real power of this whole thing clicks in. By mapping this journey out, you can spot potential roadblocks and those little friction points before they cost you customers. You end up with a clear strategy for each of these 10 steps, which means your entire team, I'm talking marketing, product, support, everyone is totally aligned and focused on the same customer reality. At the end of the day, this exercise really helps you contrast your internal vision with what's actually happening out there in the real world. We so often assume it's this simple, straight line from A to B, but the customer's reality, it's almost always a more complex, winding path with its own logic and, its own potential pitfalls. So what can you do with this information, like right now, to make it useful? The answer is super simple, but it's incredibly effective. The most important takeaway here is to get this out of your head and make it visual. I mean it. Use a whiteboard, grab some sticky notes for a wall, build a flowchart, whatever it takes. Create a real, physical, or digital map of these 10 steps for your specific product. This is what turns an abstract idea into a shared tool that your whole team can actually see, debate, and most importantly, improve on. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. When you actually sit down and map out this 10-step journey for your own customers, what's the very first unexpected roadblock, that first hidden friction point that you're going to uncover? The one you never even knew was there? Because that discovery, that's your first step toward building a product that people don't just use, but one they truly love.